Hello and welcome to another episode of Reach Your Happy with Laura. So this message for you today, for us today, is about stop waiting for things to be perfect for you to move forward. So how many times in your life have you stopped yourself from making a video, from asking somebody out, from going to the beach or wearing that outfit or pursuing a job or doing your first Reiki session? You know, how many times have you, there we go, stopped yourself because the conditions weren't just right? Because we are human, you know, and we believe that when I get to this state, when I look like this, when I'm happy, when I'm ... which we think when I'm there, then the conditions will be right, then it'll unfold as I want it to. But I'm going to encourage you to not wait, to not hold off on joy, to not hold yourself back from experiencing a beautiful beach day, getting the sun on your tummy because your stomach doesn't look how you think it needs to. It's not in the perfect state yet. Or if you learned Reiki and you're not practicing on anybody and you're waiting to feel that feeling that you think is somewhere in the future, when really the feeling comes from showing up in our imperfection. Because I use the word imperfection, but really we are perfect. We label it as imperfect because it's not this like image, this modeled perfect idea of what we should be. And if you're watching this, I'm doing a lot of air quotes here. So we often hold back from pleasurable experiences because, oh, I'll be ready when, I'll be happy when. We think that the answer is somewhere in the future when really the answer is in the now, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. So if tomorrow is not guaranteed, and I'm not coming from a fearful place here, it's the truth. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So what things are you holding yourself back from doing or engaging in or participating in that if tomorrow didn't come for you, you'd be like, damn, I wish I did that. I wish I just went for it. I just wish I tried. And maybe an answer comes to you right away. Maybe it's like, I'm not quite sure. Well, think about this. You know, going forward through your life, when you notice some sort of wall come up, say you're like, oh, I really want to go eat at that restaurant, but I'm gonna wait till I lose 3 more pounds and then I deserve it. The next time a thing like that comes up where you withhold from joy, from allowing yourself to experience joy or experience love or to just have an experience, notice it. Notice what thoughts are there, because oftentimes we just take the thoughts as truth and we move on. Yes, that makes sense. 3 pounds down, then I get a cheeseburger. And it's like, does that make sense though? Assessing our beliefs that we so quickly abide by when every moment we're so different. So we have beliefs that work for us for some period of time, but then we change so rapidly, you know? Every experience we have in life changes us just a little bit. Every day, every encounter with another human, every next meal we have, every morning we get to wake up and live another day, we are slightly different. So oftentimes our rules or our beliefs for ourselves are outdated. They don't fit who you now are. 32-year-old Laura doesn't need to abide by some of the rules that I had created for myself in earlier years. And oftentimes when we have beliefs that hinder us or make us choose fear over love, a simple way to put it, those fears are, or rather those beliefs, those rules are rooted from a place of trauma, from a place of pain. And so you develop those rules to keep yourself safe. Good on you, you know? Thank God we have this nervous system. Thank God we have this mind and this emotional intelligence for us to say, okay, the next time that kind of guy comes around, I'm gonna be sure not to fall for him, right? Because I got hurt by him before, and I know that type, so I'm not falling for that. Well, when we have such rigid rules, it doesn't give our now selves a chance to really experience life for what it really is. A part of us is living in the past. And there's some old quote that's like, if you're living in the past, you're depressed. If you're living in the future, you're anxious. If you're living in the present, you feel peace. And, you know, I'm a believer that the past is a fantastic teacher, so we can't completely disregard it. The future is something we can get excited about or even nervous about or feel anxiety about. We don't have to live in either place or even the now. We can just kind of bop around. But notice, where do you tend to be living? What is your general experience when you're experiencing a lot of, heavier emotions? Are you feeling lightness and stillness and joy and ease? Do you feel confident in your ability to decide what food is best for you, what friends are best for you, what TV program's best for you? Are you always thinking about what's next, what's next, what's next? And just to become just a little bit more aware of your tendencies. I'm not wanting to make you wrong or even change your ways. Self-awareness is a gift to self. It's not a gift to me. It's not a gift to anybody else. Well, it is in a way, but really I'm talking about this gift of self-awareness is an act of love. Because oftentimes we function out of old beliefs and we apply it to our now selves. And beliefs that I had when I was 16, 20, 25, 28 don't serve 32-year-old me. 32-year-old me's been through some stuff. Girl, she's wise. She's not naive. My eyes are wide open, and I can trust myself. In the past, I was more willing to trust another person than I was myself, but here I am, able to trust me. So when I feel mistrusting, I go, all right, who's talking here? What part of me is kind of taking over? Is this a past version of me? Does this experience I'm currently in, is this triggering some sort of pain for me? Because I will bet that the pain that's being touched on, that's being triggered, that age, at whatever that started to happen, that's probably the mindset from which I'm working from. And how incredible that is that our bodies remember. Sometimes I think that really sucks that my body remembers. Like when a dog barks, it makes me like, my body remembers. It has trauma from that sound. And what a gift that is. When every time I get triggered, it's, okay, you're safe, it's all right, it's over now, we're not there anymore. That is not a threat to you. And I get to heal that part of me that didn't get the love and attention and soothing that I needed when that trauma originally happened. So when you're in a scenario, maybe, with summer here, you're going to cookouts and parties, maybe you're triggered by food, maybe you're triggered by a certain family member or a certain kind of time of day. I mean, it can be anything, okay? So this self-awareness is like, I'm starting to feel anxious. Okay, well, who was I just talking to? What was I just doing? What was I just thinking? What was I just focused on? Oh, interesting. Oh, I'm thinking about that time that I almost drowned. Oh, no shit, I feel a little anxiety. Okay, I'm gonna back away from the pool. I'm gonna take some deep breaths. I'm gonna remind myself that's over now and I'm here. And my 32 or whatever age you are now, body, I'm so glad I survived that. Kind of moving yourself from like right on the edge to walking, taking steps back and making yourself feel safe. That's really what our nervous systems are craving right now. This Okay, okay. And this is actually a technique. Who taught me this? Somebody on the internet. It's a self-soothing technique where, like, think about when someone's sad. What do? You ruffle their hair? No, it's okay, right? You rub their back, this kind of downward motion. We can do this to our bodies. You can do it to your legs. You can do it to your chest, to your belly. You can do it to the sides of your legs. You can do it over your hips. It's a way to self-regulate, to tell the nervous system, it's all right. Even like if I'm anxious, I'll just gently brush my hand. You know, when me and one of the kids are walking and I can feel them kind of tense up, I'll just give them a little like, there. So we can self-soothe ourselves, and not in an attempt to rid ourselves of trauma, because your trauma has information. You are wiser because of what you experienced. But to bring ourselves into the now, to soothe our nervous system that has become so strong, but maybe a little dysregulated and needs a little extra support when you're triggered by something. So waiting for the perfect state to go do something, to experience something, doesn't allow these triggers to be touched. We kind of create this like perfect environment where we are controlling the conditions and aren't trusting ourselves to be out in the world, to be triggered and know how to cope with that. But you do. You really know how to cope with it. Sometimes, like, I get really overwhelmed at parties, or I have in the past. I'm definitely shifting this with some new awarenesses, which is I tend to pay attention to who is the lowest feeling person here and can I help them? And now I'm realizing I don't want to spend my life doing that. I love being of service to my clients and working with people, but it's not my job to be the party emotional support, you know? I'm there to have fun and celebrate too. So, shoot, what was I saying? I'm not sure. Something about like, yeah, when you shield yourself from any experiences, like so many times I've thought like, I never want to go to another barbecue. I'm so sick of feeling everyone's stuff. But what does that do? That just boxes me in, that limits me, that doesn't allow me to have fun and connect with people that I really want to be connecting with. So instead, I prepare my energetic environment. I remind myself, I've got me. Oh, this is what I was going to say. When I'm at a party and I start to feel that kind of like overwhelm or something gets triggered, I'm like, oh, I'll be right back. I go in the bathroom, I rinse my hands with cold water, a very good clearing technique. I use it before and after every session. I swear by it. Not just the cooling effect, but this like rinsing of the energy off your hands. And it's the intention that matters with most things. So I'll take myself out of the situation like you would a toddler that's overwhelmed, that's had too much pool time and is getting a little feisty and, you know, and maybe trying to lash out at other kids or getting upset, or, you know, this means the system, the nervous system is not regulated. It needs some time to cool, to chill, to settle. So I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands, I look at myself, I'm like, you got this, girl, you're okay. What do you need? Water would be good. You know what, I'm still kind of hungry. Okay, let's do that. And then because I'm listening to myself, I re-engage into the party and I listen to where I want to sit. And sometimes that's alone. Sometimes that's curled up on a couch where no one can find me. Other times it's right in the center of the action because I've got me. So we do not need to wait for the perfect state. It is a balance of honoring yourself, knowing when you're in a space to confront some of your stuff, and also understanding like it's not always going to be perfect. The amount of times I've gone out to a restaurant and been like, oh, this wasn't a good idea. I am like panicky. I'm picking up on everyone's stuff. I'm not a very good focuser right now. I'm not even enjoying this. I'm not even listening to the people that are around me. I'm just overwhelmed. And so those times I was like, yeah, maybe not having a cocktail would have been a better idea. Maybe choosing a food that's more grounding, that's connected to the earth would have been a better idea. But we don't know until we go out in the world and experience it. And you're not wrong for having a dysregulated nervous system. You're not wrong for getting overwhelmed. This is just part of our human experience. And that trigger, that trauma, that pain that gets touched on, that button that gets pressed, well, let me remind you, that button already exists. So thank you, thank you, thank you, people who help press that button that already exists, because I want to heal. I want to feel better from this. And the only way I can feel better, this is like a trauma technique, is exposure. Slow, gentle, and I'm talking like bite-sized pieces of exposure. After the accident we had with the dog, we, Brad and I were like, all right, there's dogs up there, let's go this way. We couldn't even go near. It didn't matter the size of the dog. No, we just couldn't. Now, him and I, we really are like, how are you? I'm okay. How are you? I'm okay. Should we take a longer loop? Are you okay walking by? And I'm like, oh, I'm okay walking by, but I'm gonna like really make a lot of space. So we're regulating our nervous systems. We're exposing ourselves to our trauma in a really gentle way. So it certainly doesn't always go as planned. So is life. But giving yourself a shot. Because again, tomorrow is not promised. It's not. And so if tomorrow isn't promised, how do you want to go about today? I'll be honest, I didn't want to show up for this video today. I didn't. And what I'm going in my head, yeah, well, Laura, you don't have to. You don't have to. Giving myself an out. And I'm like, I don't have to, but I feel like I'm being called to it. So what's this about? I'm like, what do I think tomorrow's gonna bring to me that tomorrow doesn't have? I'm like, I'll feel better, I'll feel more energized, I'll feel like I have a better thing to say. And I'm like, oh, you're looking for perfect. Girl, I caught you. You're looking for perfect. You're not willing to show up without makeup on your face. You're a little uncomfortable. And I was like, oh damn, guess we're getting on the camera. And so here we are. So thank you, as always, for helping me to become more self-aware through this journey, through showing up here. Someone at the family party yesterday said like, oh, I can't believe you can do this. You're so comfortable. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not actually. Every meeting with this camera is a challenge for me. Thank you, but yeah, that's not what it is. So just another little reminder that how people appear, especially on social media, but even out in public. The most like cocky, arrogant looking guy is probably the most insecure. We don't know, and we make so many assumptions. But my advice to you is to focus in on you. Becoming more self-aware is an act of love. And your self-awareness, it's not just like, oh, I should do this because that's what people do now. It's about taking steps towards your freedom, towards your inner peace. And we all deserve that. So that is all for today. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you. If you enjoyed this, please share with a friend, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you feel like doing. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.